Hey everybody, this is Brad Bruce and I'm here with
Jase Marsiglia.
and you're listening to the 5195 podcast.
That's right. Or should we call it the 5915 podcast?
Whoa.
Because it's a reversal. It's a 180. I had to do the math in my head.
Did you?
Like, why do I have to? I got to picture the number and be like, is that the order it goes in? Because I've got a pretty solid track record of being a fucking dunce on this show. So I was like,
Look, there's a line that you said that every time I hear it, I lose it.
oh, for real?
I lose it. I don't remember what show because that's all a fucking blur.
I know. Yeah, me too.
But
yeah,
this line, you messed up a name.
Who, me?
And the way you said it, you're like, I'm just becoming the show's dumbass. I fucking lose it every time.
Calls it like a sees it.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You did do the numbers backwards, and I'm going to be like, okay, cool, because I don't know. I'm sure.
You're like, I started it, and then I started looking around for paraphernalia.
To make sure I was doing,
Like,
doing it right.
well, I got nothing. Oh, it's over there. Yeah. So, yeah, the 5915. Tsacdop.
The Tsacdop.
Yeah.
Oh. The
The
Tsacdop.
Tsacdop. The T is silent, sort of like the D in Django.
There you go. Oh, my God.
Why am I speaking in riddles and backwards?
Why?
This is our 180 show. And this has been a long time coming. We talked about this a while ago. But we had to, this is kind of a callback to, again, what episode? I don't fucking know. I don't know. That we're not paid for anything.
At all.
We're not paid to research, but we're also not paid to sit here and talk anyways.
Yeah. Even though Tina bosses us around like we're being paid.
Right.
Did you hear that?
I heard an off camera or an off mic.
I wanted to join in and confirm that I do boss you around.
She does.
I really hope the mic's paid.
It's very
You should
true.
probably just come up and say that just in case. Because if the mic didn't pick that up, I'm going to be pissed.
I heard it through the phones.
Okay.
She was back behind the glass at the switchboard,
Screaming and yelling.
screaming at us through the window.
I do, boss. You're like you're getting paid. I guess the food and the drinks and like dealing with us.
Tina takes care of us. She's definitely our den mother, and she puts up with endless amounts of shit. So yeah, she's like, when we do start getting paid, she's like, you guys are gonna fucking pay.
Oh yeah, we owe her
Yeah.
a percentage like a manager.
Oh my God, are you guys gonna pay? So yeah, I don't know what episode it was, but I had convinced Brad.
Christmas. It was a Christmas episode.
Was it Christmas?
The
Okay.
second Christmas episode.
So it was when I was talking about Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Iron Man 3 was one of my favorite, is it a Christmas movie
Right.
things, that debate. And something about it, I don't remember the conversation completely, but something about it piqued your interest. And you're like, a Christmas miracle may have just happened. Jake.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God. And in the spirit of fair play, especially after his death, David Lynch was a filmmaker that I just couldn't grasp.
Yeah.
Because I'm admittedly, I'm not an art house guy. I don't really like movies that are obtuse or weird for the sake of weird. And it sounds really mean to say this, but it's like, I don't like movies that are made for the art.
Right.
Which sounds really counterproductive because all movies are art.
Yeah.
But there's certain movies that, like paintings, that only make sense to the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fine with that. And there's a subset of audience that's like, cool, I don't care if I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those. I'm one of those that's like, I understand if it ends ambiguously or if there's subtext to certain scenes that gives you a reason to discuss it.
Right.
Whereas David Lynch to me was like weird for the sake of weird. And I'm like, I don't get this. I don't understand the appeal. And when he died and you started sharing videos with me and stuff, I started getting interested in the person, not the art, but the person, and being like, maybe I need to go back and reevaluate, not just reevaluate, because the number of movies of his that I've seen are very small. He's got a long filmography, and I could count on one hand the number of movies of his that I've watched, beginning to end. So not just a reevaluation, but just an evaluation where I could go back and start from the beginning and be like, all right, I'm going to just kind of trek this guy's career and see what I take from his movies.
Yeah.
And that was going to be, we sort of had a gentleman's handshake on this off the mics and said, I'm going to give Marvel a shot. And I said, I'm going to give Lynch a shot. And this has kind of been going on off and on for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's very slow going because we both have busy schedules.
Yeah.
And
life is life.
Life is lifing. And in my defense, there's a lot of David Lynch stuff that's not readily streaming.
Right.
I know most of his movie, or at least his most popular ones, seem to be on HBO Max. They got the rights to a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go in order.
Correct.
And
As I think you should.
Right. And that even if you didn't think that, I do like the idea of seeing a filmmaker's evolution.
Yeah.
You know, I love that. Seeing where they started. I mean, Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
You could look at Lord of the Rings and be like, oh, wow, this guy's a major auteur. And then you put something like Bad Taste in front of that fan and go, yeah, but do you know where he came from?
Right.
Meet the Feebles, Dead Alive.
You saying that, like knowing where he came from. I wasn't like aware of David Lynch and was like a fan right out the gate.
So how was it for you?
So what had happened was I had seen The Elephant Man when I was a kid.
That was your gate movie?
It was. But here's the thing. I didn't know that it was David Lynch. I just knew it as this movie's fucking crazy.
How old were you?
Oh, God.
Well, let me put it to you this way. Let me redirect the question. Were you at the age where you and I weren't really clocking who did what?
Yes.
We were just watching movies.
Absolutely.
Okay.
11, 12?
Yeah.
Give or take. I don't know. You know? But I just knew it as like, damn, that's a crazy movie. Like this poor guy.
Yeah.
Essentially what it was. It more stuck with me.
Sure.
Than like, wow, I want to know who made the movie. Because, yeah, like you said, we didn't give a fuck back then.
No.
Who was making what?
And we didn't have the internet to go, oh, I need to look up this guy's everything.
Right. But then when I did start doing that, working at the video store, I remember they had a poster of Eraserhead hanging up. And I was like, wow, that's a crazy poster. A David Lynch film, Eraserhead. So I rented it and I was like, wow, this is pretty fucking wild. Like, I dig it. Didn't get it the first time, watched it again and I was like, okay, I'm starting to get this.
Okay.
I'm starting to understand this. And then I went back and I talked to the lady Marilyn who was at the video store and I was like, is that what this is? Is it this? And I don't really want to spoil it for people because
sure,
I think film should be interpreted by their own mind,
especially
instead of influence,
especially ones like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be like, because if I say, oh, it's this, then that's what it is for everyone.
Yeah.
They're not going to give it a chance.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely.
So I asked her, I was like, is this what it is? And she's like, yeah, that's pretty much, yeah. And it's funny is, there was even a time that someone close to him said it,
Really?
Yeah. And his daughter.
Oh.
So it's like, okay, cool. That's years and years later.
Right.
But after watching Eraserhead, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back and watch whatever else is out there.
Yeah.
And that's how I became aware of who he was. And then, oh shit, I've already seen one.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
You know.
So I went back and I did the Mulholland, Blue Velvet, like all the crazy shit, So,
Yeah.
So I mean, there's some cool shit there. Like Wild at Heart is fucking crazy,
Yeah.
Have you seen? Oh no, you're not there yet. So it's like, but again,
don't forget, I even have my story.
Yeah.
With David Lynch.
Yeah.
And I didn't start from the beginning either.
Right. Okay. So what's yours?
Mine, I was working at the bank. I was in the mailroom.
Okay.
And one of the supervisors, she was like, Jase, come here for a sec. And I got like an armful of mail, and I was just shooting them into envelope, mail bins.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, what's up? And I come over and she goes, you're a movie guy. And I said, yeah, my reputation precedes me sometimes, And she goes, have you ever seen Mulholland Drive? And I said, no, I don't know what that one is. And she was just like, for the life of me, I don't understand it. And she goes, do me a favor. Could you rent it this weekend and then tell me what I'm missing?
Okay.
Because she goes, I think I need like a movie fan's eye. And I said, fair enough, So I ran to the video store that weekend. I picked it up. David Lynch, just being a movie fan, the name floated in and out of the, consciousness. I'd heard of him. I took the movie home, and it's weird to say because someone put me on it.
Okay.
But it was like I was hyper focused to the point where I probably wasn't enjoying it because I'm looking too hard for clues.
Got it.
So I'm already looking way too deep.
Yeah.
Too deep to the point where the first clue flew right over my head.
Okay.
And I won't say that either.
Yeah.
Just when I thought I had a handle, the movie pulls the rug out from under you and throws this twist and that twist. And why is Billy Ray Cyrus beating the shit out of this guy? And, it was just funny, and it was weird. And it was like, unlike Elephant Man or even Eraserhead for you, I was kind of amused by some of it.
Okay.
But I was like, I don't know if I'd ever watch this again. I don't know if I would look for this guy's work.
Yeah.
And by the end of the movie, I kind of was like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know what I got out of that movie. That was fucking weird. Because I'm sitting here like, some of it was scary. Some of it was funny. Some of it was just mysterious. Some of it was erotic. I'm like, this was a weird amalgam of genres.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, I was like, I feel like I just watched a fever dream. You know what I mean? And I was like, I went back to work and I just kind of had my hands open. Like, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I really tried to pay attention too. And I was like, I couldn't make 1 and 1 make 2.
Yeah.
Watching that movie. And then I think my brother Josh watched it. And he goes, have you seen Mulholland Drive? And I kind of went, yeah. And he goes, what is that about? And I was like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I seriously don't. I have nothing. And somehow it came up in conversation with my folks. And my mom, of all people, was like, oh, David Lynch.
Wow.
And I go, yeah, it's a David Lynch movie. She goes, I used to watch Twin Peaks.
Okay.
Back in the 90s or whatever, when Twin Peaks was out.
Right.
And I was like, oh, Twin Peaks is David Lynch? She goes, yeah. And I go, well, what's that show like? And my mom went, weird.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
So I went, so this guy's repertoire, his filmography is just weird shit. So I was turned off.
Okay.
I was kind of like, okay, well, if he just makes weird shit, I'm not really that interested because I don't, I don't need to be spoon fed.
Yeah.
But I want to be able, I don't want to feel like I'm being held at arm's length either. So, and
he will do that.
He will. And I was kind of like, if the movie doesn't let me in a little bit, it's not a fun experience for me. And, it's not an engaging one, I should say. So I kind of wrote him off. And then I think I stumbled upon Eraserhead at one point. And then the only reason I watched Eraserhead, and this kind of goes in a totally different direction, but a buddy of mine loaned me the movie Pi.
Okay. Darren Aronofsky.
Darren Aronofsky. Yeah. And I loved it.
Yeah.
Pi was just weird, intense, dark movie.
I love it.
And all of the reviews for Pi kept referencing Eraserhead, you know, as an inspiration. And I was like, okay. So one day I popped on Eraserhead because I think it was on Netflix or something. I got about 15 minutes in and was like, what the fuck is this? And I turned it off.
Yeah.
I bailed. So my initial takes of David Lynch were not, it just wasn't grabbing me. I'm like, this is just too weird for me. So I wrote him off. I really did. I was just kind of like, yeah, he's just kind of a weird director and it doesn't click.
Okay.
So
I get it.
Sure. And like you said, and that's the thing. He's a filmmaker. He doesn't make films for you. He makes films for him.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And sometimes I have a problem with that because I feel like it should be a communal thing. But then you stop and think, if I made a painting that spoke to me about an emotion I was feeling or whatever, it's abstract.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's not beautiful. It doesn't mean it doesn't make sense.
Right.
And as I got older and started really diving into fucked up exploitation movies and the grittier stuff, grindhousey stuff, I started noticing that I was enjoying movies that didn't necessarily make sense just because the ride was fun.
Yeah.
And that kind of opened me up a little bit to maybe David Lynch is a ride director. Maybe I should just try and go for the ride.
Yeah.
And see what happens. And then when he died, that's exactly what was being thrown at me by you and other people and, you know, online. It was like David Lynch was making movies that you were supposed to sort of immerse yourself in and feel versus understand. And I was like, maybe I should do this. And the problem has been, I rewatched Eraserhead. I did what you did, and I texted you when it was over, and I said, is it about this? And you were like, yeah. You're like, at least that's what I got out of it. And if that's what his daughter got out of it too, I'm like, then we were on the right wavelength.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know if I'd call it a masterpiece, but I was like, but I kind of dug it. I kind of dug what was going on this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I realized I'd opened myself up enough that I was watching it objectively and like, okay, all right, I'm kind of getting it here.
Yeah.
You know, and I was getting lost in the weird, gritty black and white. I mean, what is that? 16 millimeter. It's a very grainy movie. And it was just nightmarish, and that appealed to me. And that's when I started reflecting back on stuff like Mulholland Drive. I'd seen a lot of Lost Highway, and I was like, okay, maybe that's how I need to approach it. He writes nightmarish, dreamlike content. And I'm like, because you watch these movies and somehow he's able to capture the weird sense/nonsense of our dreams.
Yeah.
And then you said, oh yeah, that's literally the motif.
Yeah. Yeah. You just made him smile right now by you saying that.
That's what's funny. And then you explained to me about like the Wizard of Oz connection.
Yeah.
And even Wizard of Oz ends with her waking up. You know what I mean? Was it a dream? Probably, you know? So watching Eraserhead again was kind of like, okay. And I was like, Brad, maybe that'll be my thing, you know? So I was like, I'm going to go ahead and give this journey a try, and you will give the Marvel universe a try. And the only reason I haven't gone any further than I have is because the next movie I'm supposed to watch is Elephant Man.
Yeah.
And it's not streaming anywhere.
No, it's tough to find.
Extremely. I mean, the DVDs and Blu-rays for that are extremely expensive. I don't have enough to justify plunking down for this yet.
Right.
So I'm kind of at a standstill.
Yeah.
Which sucks because I want to keep moving. In the interim, I did see that a lot of his independent short films are on YouTube.
Yes.
So I was like, I can kind of maybe dabble in the short film stuff for now.
And he's got tons of them.
Oh my God. Most of his filmography.
Over 100.
That's what I mean. He's done more short films than he's done features.
And I love that because it was like, there was so much going on in his head.
Mm-hmm.
He needed to be creative all the time.
He was like a faucet that he couldn't turn off, you know.
And it was also interesting because then there were things where, like, you know, like his schedule, you know, like we talked about, every day at 2:30, he's going to Bob's Big Boy in Burbank, and he's ordering the same thing, and he's doing the same thing, sitting in the same booth. He's doing this for years.
Yeah.
You know, there was another time where he was talking about how, you know, for dinner, he was having like crackers and tuna fish or something else every day. That's all he would eat.
Wow.
You know, he goes, because it takes the creativity of trying to figure out what to eat out, and I can put it somewhere else.
Jeez. Genius.
You know what I mean?
Genius.
Yeah. And I'm like,
You're taking the thinking out.
Yeah.
And using your brain for other shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of funny.
It is.
That's really funny.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, and what was cool is after, you know, watching Eraserhead and going back and watching all these movies, because I did kind of bounce around whatever was available at the store. I would just bring home and watch. I didn't do a chronological thing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, then there was no YouTube, so I couldn't find the short films and things like that. You know,
which even those got like a release.
They did
years down the line.
They did, yeah,
you know.
Yeah. There's like the Green Box and a couple of other releases that they did.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, it was fucking dope. And I was like, these movies are amazing. I want to know who this guy is.
Yeah,
you know, and then, you know, with the, you know, YouTube around, sort of watching interviews and shit, and I was like, he's everything I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I am completely enamored with him. And it was almost one of those things like with Hunter, where I became more infatuated with the man than the art.
Yeah.
Because the man was art, truthfully, you know.
Sure.
It's like everything he said, everything he did was just, I was so in awe.
Yeah.
And just fixated on every word that he would say. I mean, some of the greatest things are like when he would get pissed off about shit.
Oh, geez. Yeah. You
know?
showed me a couple of videos of him going off.
And I think it's amazing because he's fighting for his artistic right.
That's what it is.
And that's what I loved.
He's bad mouthing or talking back to the system.
Yes.
Because the one video that stands out, the one that you showed me, was someone, probably a producer, you need to shorten up the scene.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? Who gives a fuck how long a scene is?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was just like, who gives a fucking shit?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, she was there to nickel and dime him.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, just let me fucking direct this shit. And I was like, go.
Yeah.
I'm like, go, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love
you know?
it. I love that.
And the thing was, to burgeoning filmmakers out there, it's not an easy thing to do until you've reached his clout, you know, because you are a nobody, as I'm a nobody.
Yeah.
They could just go, well, I'm fucking taking this budget and shutting you down. But it's because it's David Lynch, and they know that he has a built-in fan base and a massive one at that.
Yep.
He was able to just kind of look at him and be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Let me do my shit. You know. But another one that I loved was I don't know the context. I don't know why, but Naomi Watts was pissed at him for something. And he goes, just slap me.
Yeah.
And she goes, David, I'm not going to slap you. He goes, you'll feel better. Just do it. Go ahead and slap me. And then, is it Kyle McLaughlin?
Yeah.
You just hear him in the background go, I'll fucking slap you.
Yeah.
But he's just like, I'm serious. He goes, if you're pissed off, I can take it. Go ahead and slap me. And she didn't, and she just went in for a hug anyway. And he gave her a hug and was just like, are you good? You okay? And I just remember thinking, this guy's fucking awesome.
Uh-huh.
You
got to
mean?
see some of the stuff with him and Laura Dern.
Oh, I bet.
Shooting in the middle of the night and freezing cold.
Because Laura Dern seems like his Grace Kelly.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
Because she was definitely a repeat star in his films, from what I've gathered.
Yeah.
And Naomi Watts to a smaller degree.
Yeah.
But Laura Dern clearly has been with him since the 80s, you know.
Yep.
So, just stuff like that where I was kind of like, yeah, he might be a weird dude, but he's a weird, relatable dude. He's not, I hate to say it, he's not Crispin Glover, who's just fucking weird.
I think he's weird on purpose.
He could be.
He's playing a part.
But David could be doing that too, but he's not.
No, he's not.
You know, because David, he could be like, I'm just going to be as weird as my work and make everyone think there's a mystique about me. And instead, no, he's just a regular fucking
He's
dude.
a regular guy.
And he was super cool to watch.
You know what it is? Plain and simple. He doesn't care what anyone thinks.
No, and that's an important and it's vital thing to have in this business.
It's inspiring.
It is.
You know, it's very inspiring because I mean, I'm guilty of it from time to time.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I try not to be, you know, and then when I do get into those kind of mindsets, I do watch a David Lynch documentary or an interview and go, okay, yeah, no, it's right. Yeah, I can get myself back on track. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I don't care. Like I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to say what I want to say. You know, people don't like it, get offended. Okay, I get it. You're allowed to get offended. That's fine. You'll be okay.
That's free.
You'll be fine, you know. And there's not many more like him.
No.
So that was a big loss when he passed.
It was. And the thing was, if there wasn't one like him, I could call to mind Bill Friedkin.
Yeah.
But he was tyrannical.
Mm-hmm.
He was one that he was not a warm director.
No.
To my knowledge.
No.
And then you got people like George Romero or John Carpenter who could do that, but the system, probably because they were big to us, but they weren't Spielberg big or Tarantino big or whatever. The studios fucked them repeatedly.
Yeah.
And it was because, you know, like with George and John in particular, if he fought back and wanted artistic control, they would do shit like, well, we're not going to promote it.
Yeah.
And a lot of their movies were flops because the studio just didn't back it. And that was unfortunate that they became bigger on video or in drive-ins or something versus actual premieres and big events. But it was because of their status and the genre. Whereas David Lynch, there is an art house audience. And a lot of his movies are more mystery, thriller, existential, even sci-fi in a couple of them, which is much more mainstream and much more respected and accepted than gory zombie movies or Halloween or slasher. You know what I mean? So as much as I love George and John, and to another degree, even Wes Craven, these were guys who were looked down on for the genre that they were inhabiting, and they found other ways to tighten the leash. You know, they'd be like, yeah, okay. Because, I mean, a lot of people don't realize, like, Dawn of the Dead, as big of a movie as it is, it was rated X. And X in those days didn't mean porn. It meant it was worse than R. And when what people don't understand is if you get labeled with an X and you refuse to make the necessary cuts to bring it down to an R, they will not make commercials for you, and they will not allow you to advertise in newspapers, which is where people got their movie times. And that severely hinders your release.
Because then the studio's not going to work with you now.
Exactly. And the fact that we can still talk about and celebrate those guys is because they just toughed it out.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like they would have had the same respect on a mainstream level as David Lynch had they done something outside of horror.
Right.
You know, which is just dumb. But it's like, that's how the business is. Still, I would imagine. You know, I mean, horror is still kind of looked at as many horror films as we see out there. And as successful as they can be, you know, Weapons is kicking ass, Sinners is kicking ass. It's still, if one of those movies were to go up for an Academy Award, they'd be a thriller. They're not a horror film. And I'm like, they're a fucking horror film.
Yeah. I mean, we're always going to be kept at bay.
Always. And that's just something, especially if you're listening to our show and you're coming up and you're trying to decide, just know that there's definitely an elitist attitude towards the genre that we love. But sometimes you get through, you know, and David was one who was able to crack that ceiling and do weird, nightmarish, arguably horror films.
Yeah.
And get away with it without much interference. Because none of them No, I can't even say that. I was going to say none of them are particularly graphic, but some of them are very graphic.
No, they are.
You know, but
Yeah.
it's because of his clout and the fact that he towed the line at being a horror film and maybe just like an erotic thriller or something. I think De Palma is another one where he makes horror films. You know, Dress to Kill to me is a horror film.
Yeah, it is.
But because of it's got Michael Caine and Angie Dickinson, and it's more of a Hitchcock movie. It's one of those deals where you got to play the game a little bit and you get to scoot by. Like Dress to Kill, I revisited that not too long ago, and that is an extremely graphic movie. I think it's 10 times more graphic than Friday the 13th, which was released the same year and got an X rating.
Yeah.
And had to be trimmed, you know. So, but yeah, to circle back to Lynch, I'm fully in for the ride.
Yeah.
Fully. I think I'm gonna have to borrow some from you maybe and mail them back or
fine.
what have you.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
But
like I said, I've been looking because I mean, I do want you to own them.
oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I do because it's just something cool because it's like the show's history. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I
you
own the
do.
Marvel movies, so it's like I want you to own them. You know, so it's like when I'm out, I look if they're there, which there haven't been any now. Since, especially since him passing, everyone is just
They're scooping them up.
Yeah, they're grabbing everything.
And
you know?
yeah, online they're gouging like crazy.
Yeah.
For that. So, it's been an uphill battle for me, but now that we're halfway through the show, we can pivot over to you. And these are much more commercial. I mean, when I went looking for those for you, it probably took me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
To make the stack for phase.
And you had to dig through copies of them to find the ones with the slip and this and that.
Yeah.
Because there was tons of different versions of these.
Oh, yeah.
things.
There's multiple copies, multiple versions of the same movie. And I personally, I'm one of those that's like, I want the initial run with the slip and the bonus stuff.
Yeah.
Because some of them have been re-released under the Disney banner and they've been semi-stripped, in my opinion.
That's crazy.
And even the slip covers are very basic. It's like they cut out the image of the hero
Yeah.
and put it against like a flat color.
Okay.
Whereas a lot of these other ones were like poster art. And I want poster art. I want so you tasked me with running around Book Off and looking for the best copy of these movies because they're more mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, they were very, very easy to track down. They're always going to be available, you know.
Again, as soon as you said, you know, he spends a lot of time not as Iron Man, sort of grumpy, trying to bond with this little kid.
Yeah.
Okay, I dig that because it's, you know, it's giving me those Superman vibes.
Well, even that particular one, Iron Man 3 that we're talking about, it's the only superhero movie I can think of, even now, where he's already established and he's too scared to do it. He has PTSD by Iron Man 3. And he's like, I don't even want if I can get in this suit.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with this suit. That's why that movie gets trashed by so many is, well, it's Iron Man, but he's not in the suit. He's just Tony.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he even says in a future movie, not Iron Man, it's just another appearance. If you're not good enough without the suit, you don't deserve the suit. He's saying this to someone else. That's kind of what this movie's about. He's trying to find the strength to live up to this title that he's hoisted upon himself. And it's a character movie.
Yeah.
It's not a superhero movie. It's a character movie. And I think that's why it appealed to me more.
Yeah.
I was glad that you caught that.
Yeah.
And it piqued your interest.
Yeah,
So-
it was like a signal went off and it really grabbed me. I still haven't seen it yet,
No.
but it did pique me enough to go, okay, maybe I shouldn't judge the rest of these movies so harshly then. So I was like, yeah, I'll be the first one to admit this is a giant retcon.
It is.
You know, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I was vehemently against
Oh, yeah.
MCU.
Yeah. You
know,
were like, I don't care.
Way more fucking brash than you ever were, like towards David Lynch, you know? And it's like, I was like, it was crazy.
You were
know?
like, too many of them, don't care.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'll be the first one to admit that it's like, you know, I've taken I did the first 4,
Okay.
you know? And You know, again, I told you I went into my room, I closed my door, and
You were strapping in.
I was. And
Yeah.
it's funny because there were times I wouldn't even let Tina come in the room, and she wanted to watch them with me.
That's funny.
Yeah. And it wasn't until I want to say it was, I let her come in for Thor towards the end.
I think that's the fourth one.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, fine. You know, and
But let me watch it. Don't talk through it.
yeah. But you know, it's like I said, you know, I'm going to do this. I'm going to just push all the judgment out, all the bullshit I said, and I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to absorb it.
How are you doing that, though? Are you watching it as a filmmaker?
No,
You're watching it as a popcorn?
I'm not even that. I am
No?
watching this as a fan of comic books.
Really? Okay.
Yes. I did used to read comic books when I was a kid, you know,
Mhm.
and of course it was a lot more bizarre, weird, horror, you know, crazy shit. I did read the occasional, a lot of Batman, a lot of Superman.
Right. I was going to say, I know when we did our comic book show, you were more of a DC guy.
Yes, I was way more of a DC guy,
Mhm.
for sure.
Me too, for that matter.
Okay. So it's like, so I know how to read a comic book. You know, I get it because there is, you know, it's like there's a way to read a comic book. There really is.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, you know, I'm going to do that with this movie, and that is to not speculate, not judge,
Mm-hmm.
but let this story unfold in front of you. And it was almost like the way it was on the page. Because when I'm reading a comic book, I'll read it and I'll look at all the panels.
Yeah.
And I'll look in the background and I'll see what someone's doing. I'll see if that's got a precursor to
Sure.
something on the next page or whatever it is. Like because a buddy of mine who owned the comic book shop told me that's how to do it. You need to immerse yourself in the pages of these comic books.
It makes sense because no one's going to unintentionally draw something.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely.
Everything's there for a reason. Everything's there to add a flavor or an idea
Mm-hmm.
or a mood.
Yep.
So yeah, comics they're very, this is it.
Yeah.
You know, this is what you need to understand this story.
Well, I'll tell you
You know.
something that I used to do that.
They're blunt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I would do something and it would drive a couple of my friends fucking crazy because we would have comic book reading parties.
Sure.
Sometimes it was all reading the same comic.
Mm.
Sometimes, you know, depending on how many of us were there, I would read the first one.
Did you guys do like a comic assembly line?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty rad.
We would do that. And like I said, you know, we were comic book fucking nerds for sure. But what I would do, especially when I was reading Batman and he was at the desk and he was looking and thinking.
In the cave?
Yes.
Mhm.
And there were those ones where he's sitting there with his fingers on his chin
Yeah.
and he's just thinking and looking. I would hold on that and
Yeah.
give him time to think.
That's so weird. Yeah, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because you could just glaze over it and be like,
Why?
thinking-
Why rush it?
thinking panel.
Yeah.
You know
he
what I mean?
needs to think.
Yeah.
So I'm giving him, and what I'm doing too is while he's thinking, I'm thinking about what I just read.
Okay.
So
You're collecting the data that he is,
exactly.
and you're mulling it over.
And my friends were like, I hate you for doing that. I hate you for doing it. And I did this as a little kid. And even the comic book, the guy that I work for,
yeah.
when I told him I did that, he goes, wow, I've never even done that. He's like, that's pretty fucking cool. But again, that's how I was with my comic books.
Well, what was funny was I kind of did the same thing. I really did. I'm not just saying this.
Yeah.
And it was because, how do I put this? I'm a metaphor guy. You know me.
Yes.
Everyone here knows I'm a metaphor guy.
Yes.
You ever watched a sitcom that ended on a downer note and they didn't play music at the end?
Mm-hmm.
You would just see executive producer.
Yes.
And it was like, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with comics, if you had a panel that didn't have a thought bubble or a dialogue bubble, it stood out because it was like, they want you to sit with this moment,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
whatever it is.
Correct.
And to me, those stood out to me because, you know, you could very easily put, and it would cheapen the panel because I can see that he's thinking.
Yeah.
You know, but it's for some reason a empty, dialogue empty comic book panel is it seems like it feels like a moment that you're supposed to kind of take a beat you know.
Absolutely.
And I, even as a kid, yeah, that resonated with me because it was like, nothing's happening here.
Yeah.
So let me just look at the art and try to get what they're doing.
Right.
You know.
Right.
To that end, to go back to MCU, I feel like the filmmakers of these movies allow for those beats.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they let certain moments sit with you. I think they allow you into the mind of a hero or a villain in a way that the product pushers don't.
Right.
Because comic book movies for a long period, to use a Joel Schumacher term, were to sell toys.
Yes.
And that's it. So crank it out. And Marvel, to me, there were like the stories first, the spectacle is second.
Yeah.
And I really genuinely feel that way, especially about the phase you're going into.
Mm-hmm.
So to let you guys know, I made a deal with Brad before we did the gentleman's agreement. And I said, next time I come out, there's one Marvel movie out of these 30 at the time, however many.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to sit you down and I want you to watch this one and just watch it with an open mind. And if you don't like it, I'll never ask you to watch another Marvel movie ever again. And I was being honest too, because I'm like, if this one doesn't show you what I'm seeing them do, I can't think of another one that would.
Yeah.
I was like, if this one doesn't sell you, I really can't think of one that would make you go, I get it. So I sat Brad down and we watched Captain America's Civil War, which was about the Accords. Basically, for those who haven't seen it, all three of you, the U.S. government has written a doctrine basically saying your superhero antics over the course of the last, 8 movies or so have caused a lot of wreckage, a lot of pain, a lot of death. The government wants to reel you in. You guys have to sign this, basically saying we only go where the government says we can. We're sanctioned by the U.S. government and basically weaponizing, to a degree, superheroes. Tony Stark / Iron Man is all for it. We need to be put in check, he says at one point. Captain America, who puts country first, is saying, if they do this, we're on a leash. And what if there's people that need help and our government doesn't see the need, which is very real.
Yeah.
Every country is pretty much in it for themselves. And Cap is like, no, there's good people all over the world. Why wouldn't we save good people from bad people? And so he's like, I refuse to sign. And it turns out that's what causes the Civil War. Is there's certain superheroes who see the point in signing and keeping one hand on the wheel, I believe, as Black Widow says.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the heroes like Cap, who are like, we have abilities that allow us to do things our military can't. Why wouldn't we use it for good without being steered?
Right.
And it's a very adult, very not lunchbox Happy Meal toy story. You know, it's a very real political / espionage story. And then to top it off, there's a massive twist at the end that's a huge betrayal that adds incredible pain to the story. And it's not a spectacle movie at all, even though there's tons of action in it. There's a lot of funny moments. There's some big laughs. Paul Rudd's in it. You're going to laugh.
Yeah.
But it was a movie that to me was like, it spoke to things that most comic book movies don't. And I was like, give this one a shot. And it was a calculated move.
Yeah.
So it might have been half an hour. You could tell me. But it was early on that you kind of elbowed me and was like, this is kind of good, dude.
Yeah.
You were like, I can't remember what went down, but you were like, already, this isn't what I expected.
And you know what it was? It was the dialogue. It was the character development.
Yeah.
It wasn't the action.
Yeah.
You know, it was the heartfelt emotion that they were all internally going through. They all had their own struggles.
Yeah.
That they basically the shackles were being put on.
Yep.
You know, and I was like, wow, that's fucking deep.
It is.
You know, like that's deep. That's just showing you the level of what our government will do, you know, for control and to be able, they don't care if someone's suffering, you know, and the fact that they put this in a comic book movie,
right?
You know, I was like, this is fucking good.
Yeah.
You know, like I was impressed, man. I was really fucking impressed.
It's one of those deals where if you stripped away the superhero aspect, this would be a Tom Clancy movie or a John Grisham flick.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's like, that's what grabbed me about the MCU so much was these movies could work if they weren't comic book movies. They could work on their own. If you took Iron Man out of Iron Man, it's still a movie about a guy feeling culpable for his weapons being sold to villains.
Yeah.
His name is on these missiles. His name is on these guns. And they're the ones who held me hostage?
Yeah.
What the fuck is this? So take Iron Man out of the equation and you've got a moral conundrum about arms dealing. That seeps into the second one. The Incredible Hulk. You've got a guy who's a mistake, who can't control it. It's a rage movie. Again, the government steps in and goes, we have a weapon. And we need that weapon under lock and key.
Yep.
I don't care that he's a human being. You know what I mean? Thor. You strip away the medieval shit, the god shit, you know, God of Thunder and all that stuff. It's about a cocky kid who basically runs with carte blanche, aplomb, whatever, you know, and his dad basically saying, I mean, it could be a gang movie. Don't fuck with that gang. We're at peace with that gang. And he's like, nope, gonna go over and start some shit.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm kicking you out of the house.
Yeah.
You're not worthy to live here anymore.
Right.
And it's a humbling moment where he's got to prove his worth to get back home. And again, these are human stories, just told in a very spectacular superhero-y way.
The writing is amazing.
It is.
It's unique.
Yes.
The writing is very unique. You know, I basically pigeonholed them as stupid explosion movies.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
And I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
A lot of the naysayers.
Right. And I was a naysayer. You know, I was like, fuck, I don't care about this stupid shit. No, I really was impressed from Iron Man.
Yeah.
Because when I went to the theater and see it, I was like, well, this is fucking stupid.
And that was another thing that I took into consideration was the fact that you're going to start with a movie that you've already seen and didn't like.
Yeah. But you know what's funny? Thinking about it, I really didn't give it a chance. I was more or less, this is going to be dumb and this is why it's going to be dumb. And I don't shut up the entire time. I don't give it a fucking chance. And plus, talking with friends and being funny, you know, so I never really gave it the chance.
Sure.
You know, this time I gave it the chance. And maybe it is being older. I was like, I like Tony. I kind of identify with Tony.
Tony's a tortured guy.
I have some similarities with Tony. You know, I get it. And one of the things, honestly, is that he's very, very clever, very sharp, but he really can't manage his life.
Gee.
You know, it's like he can do anything but normal shit.
But he's a fucking mess.
Yes, you know.
One of the scenes in this movie, the first Iron Man.
Yeah.
And this is a testament to Downey because I think it's one of his best performances ever.
Yeah.
I mean, he is Tony Stark.
He is, yeah.
There's a scene in the movie where he's got his shirt off, he's laying on like a chair, and he's replacing the old arc reactor in his chest that's keeping shrapnel from getting into his heart. And he takes it out, and he needs a smaller hand to reach in and get this wire. And there's a whole funny scene where Gwyneth Paltrow's trying to root around in his chest to find this thing, and he goes into cardiac arrest. And all this. And it's funny, but it's like, she says, don't you ever ask me to do something like that again. And it hits me in the chest a little bit. And it's purely how he performs it. He goes, I don't have anybody else. And then she kind of gives him a look, and you see him kind of do this like half shrug. Like, it's a sad shrug because it's almost like, it's true. And I'm aware, and I'm not happy. And it's just with a shrug.
Yeah.
Downey tells you everything you need to know about Tony's life. I don't have anyone else.
Yeah.
And he could be like, well, I don't got anyone else, so it's you.
Yeah.
You know, he could be very Ebenezer Scrooge about it. And it's like, well, I'm the boss and you do whatever the fuck No, he's aware that he's lonely. And it sucks, but it is what it is.
It was vulnerable.
And there's the shrug.
Yeah. It was very vulnerable, but it was like, it is what it is.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I think of that moment a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a guy basically being as, like you said, vulnerable with his best friend as he can be without totally looking like a sad sack. You know, he's still trying to keep it together, but
yeah. And I think a lot of guys can relate to that.
Absolutely. It was such a natural reaction, but I think of that shrug a lot where he's just kind of like,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, you're all I got.
Yeah.
And I like that the movie gives them that beat to let that moment sit for a second.
Right.
Because then he just hops off the table and, you know, he's Tony again and he's jumping around. But it was just kind of a cool, quiet moment. And that's the thing about these Marvel movies. I really feel like they allow what's happening to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to bombard you with explosions and missiles and wisecracks.
But you know what? Let me say this now. Now I'm defending the movie, which is fucking crazy. It's for a reason. A lot of explosion movies are just for explosions. There's a reason here.
If you know that going in, because we're kids of the 80s.
Yeah.
I love a lot of movies that are just explosions.
Of course.
And, you know, I grew up on the Rambos and RoboCops and Die Hards. That's great shit. I'm not used to comic book movies telling you a genuine adult story and treating you like an adult.
They actually are emotional roller coasters.
Yeah. And to me, the 4 I'm looking at on the table right now, you haven't even reached any yet that are going to punch you in the chest.
And I know that's coming. And I got to be honest with you, it's like, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
because,
of course.
You know, as much as, you know, we do love, you know, horror films and all, you know, the dark stuff that we watch, but I do like a movie to make me feel something, not just scared or grossed out or whatever, but I want to feel something.
Yeah.
You know, like, even if it's a comedy, like, one of my favorite movies, this is way off topic, but one of my favorite movies is Nobody's Baby.
I don't think I've heard of this.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy is that a lot of people haven't. But like Skeet Ulrich is in it.
Okay.
Gary Oldman.
These are names.
Yeah, I think Anna Gunn.
Oh wow. Okay.
I know I'm forgetting people because there's massive people in this movie.
Yeah.
It is a $10 movie. Like they spent no money on this. Was a passion project.
Sure.
Skeet and Gary play best friends who are small time criminals. Skeet's kind of special, almost a sense, kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman, when you see him, you're like, no, that's not Gary Oldman.
I do that with almost all Gary Oldman.
Yeah, wait, yeah, but it's literally something happens and they come in possession of a baby.
Oh wow!
And they try to turn it in, and it's just like no. I don't know what to tell you. Like, no.
Oh, wow.
And so it's like, it's
our system at work.
Yes. And it's nobody's baby.
Yeah.
So Skeet decides to try to keep it, you know, and then other things happen, but it's like, it's a comedy, but there's so much emotion that it's like, it'll almost bring you to tears.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that because that's why you want to go to the cinemas to feel something.
Yeah.
You know, and prior to that Christmas episode, I chalked these up to explosion, just jock meathead movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, when you said that, when you described it that way, because I'm like, Superman's not that. And Batman's not that.
No.
And when you said that, there was a click for the first time. And it's like, well, maybe these aren't like that then. You know, and that's when I was like, okay, I think I want to watch it. And then that's when we watched Civil War.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, I want to watch all of them.
Yeah.
You know, and then like I said, now I got, you know, these four under my belt, and every single one of them was better than the last.
Yeah,
like,
I love that for you.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I watched The Incredible Hulk in the theater, and I was like, this is boring.
Oh, I didn't even know you saw that one.
I did. Yeah, me and my brother went to see it, and it was boring. I watched it again, and I was like, this is fucking phenomenal.
It's so cool.
It is phenomenal.
And that movie gets shit on by everybody.
And you know what?
I think it's the best Hulk movie ever made.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, it is such it should have won an Oscar.
And it's a fucking good monster movie.
It is a good monster
You know,
movie.
I mean, they
Yes.
wreck Hell's Kitchen.
Yes.
It's just, and that's the thing. How many movies have you seen where it's Hulk versus the missiles, Hulk versus this? You had him tackling a monster for once, and it was like, this is Godzilla shit.
Yeah.
And it was like, even as a B movie, it works. It was just fucking cool.
Yeah. And Roth was badass.
Roth was a badass.
He was bad. He was so cool.
Yeah.
You know, I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, and Abomination was insane.
Yeah. I got when I seen him, I wasn't very familiar with Abomination.
Okay.
I knew of him.
Yeah.
But I was getting Doomsday vibes.
Yeah.
Like Superman.
Yes.
Doomsday.
Yes.
And I was like, this is fucked up. He's a fucking scary ass monster.
Yeah.
You know? And Hulk, to this day, I still think he's never looked more menacing.
Right.
Because they soften him up.
Yeah.
You know, Hulk looks more comic book like, I guess. But in that movie, I was like, I wouldn't fuck with Hulk.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
And Norton was great.
He was fantastic.
God, he was great.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I'm extremely stoked that I took this journey. You know,
Same.
and I'm excited. I'm excited for it. You know, and it's funny because we went to book off the other day.
Yes.
And you were like, let me see if I can find some. And I was like, I already have them all.
I know. I kept pulling them off the shelf, and you're like, I think I got that. I got that. So yeah, we do need to.
I need to compile everything I own.
We need to convene and
make
I
a
can
list.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Let me fill in some gaps for you.
Yeah, we'll do that because we got a couple of events coming up. So we'll be in LA. So maybe we can hit Amoeba and some other spots. So,
but that even at that though, like you said, we walked around book off, and I'm like, I'm not getting any Lynch.
Yeah, I know.
It was gone.
I know.
And, you know,
maybe Amoeba will come through for us.
Maybe.
We'll see. I don't know.
Yep.
No, dude, this was a fun one. You know, I wholeheartely, I openly admit, you know, that I was wrong.
I do too. Again, this is the 180 episode.
Yes.
I had completely written off Lynch as just weird for the sake of weird. To that end, maybe when you're in phase 2, and I'm done with Lynch, maybe I'll go ahead and do a Kubrick run.
Whoa! Jeez, I'm glad I'm sitting down
because he's another one that I'm like, I don't get his shit.
Yeah.
So
wow, fuck yeah, hell
you
yeah.
know, it's one of those deals where I think it's fun to do these tit for tat kind of deals.
Absolutely, no, it is. It really is cool. I dig it.
It's fun homework.
It is. Fuck yeah. No, I'm glad we did this. This was dope.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Cool. Until next time.
See you guys.